Today's client story is about pain, resilience, and an ultimate discovery. It's about somebody who grew up feeling like they just didn't quite fit in, and for decades carried around unanswered questions about their identity. But through the power of DNA, she was able to discover the truth of her identity and discovered a completely new family that was out there. My name is Tara Crawford. I'm a search angel at DNAngels. I'm going to be sharing with you Elizabeth's story. But I'm going to be doing this through Elizabeth's own words. So she submitted her version of her story in a letter, and I'm going to be reading to you exactly her story in her own words. So my DNA surprise came in April 2024 after taking a 23andMe test. I was born the second oldest of 4 daughters. I was told that my older sister and I shared a father who wasn't in our lives, and my 2 younger sisters shared the same father, who was my stepfather. My childhood was full of physical and emotional abuse, neglect, and poverty. We lived with my stepfather until I was in the 1st grade. He was a very evil and abusive man. When my mom left him, I thought it was to save her children from his abuse. But decades later, they would remarry. Because of my mom's decision to be with the man who abused her children, our relationship turned into a turbulent disaster that would last for over 25 years. I'm not sure when my mom told me that my father didn't claim me, but I remember having a conversation with her when I was 8 years old. I asked her if she thought my dad could have changed and would want me. She said no, and that hurt me deeply. I never fit in with my 3 sisters, especially my older sister. She was extremely abusive, and my mom allowed it. For 2 people who shared the same parents, we were night and day, different in looks and personality. People were often surprised that we were sisters. My sister looked like my mom, and I didn't. The older I got, the more I felt like I didn't belong in my family. My sisters ostracized me for being different. I was the only one who never got sent to juvenile detention or became a pregnant teenager. I was the only one who graduated high school. When I was 18 and my older sister was 20, she found our father. He didn't know what he looked like because there weren't any pictures of him. I reluctantly went to my sister's house to meet him, knowing he didn't claim me, but I was curious. My sister looked a lot like him, but I didn't. I thought it was weird, and he still didn't claim me. We would never meet again after that. I went to college, married a wonderful man, had 3 beautiful children. We live a modest middle-class life. The cycle of abuse and poverty has stopped with us. My sisters live in poverty, with one of them being homeless and a meth addict. As the years went on, I wondered if my father might not be my father. A few years ago, I asked my mom if she was sure her first husband was my father, and she said yes. I had come to peace with not having a father, but being unclaimed bothered me. I had thought about doing a DNA test with one of my father's kids who I had contact with, but life got in the way. I had one health issue after another, 4 miscarriages and postpartum issues after each of my 3 children's birth. When I was 35, I was diagnosed with a congenital kidney abnormality. I have an autoimmune disorder, and in January 2023, I was diagnosed with leukemia, CLL. I've been in and out of therapy for decades, working on my childhood trauma. In March 2024, I finally decided that it was time I put my father's lie to rest, and I took a DNA test. Only my husband, kids, and a few close friends knew I was doing this test, and I had never planned to tell my mom. When the test results came back in April, I didn't get the answers I was looking for. I had a lot of paternal matches, but they didn't share my surname. I had 3 close matches. 2 were first cousins who are siblings, and their mother, my paternal aunt. After contacting the aunt, she determined her older brother must be my father. He was a 20-year-old sailor at a Navy base 100 miles from where my mom lived at the time I was born. I knew that had to be a mistake, but I wasn't sure how. After 6 days of trying to decipher my matches, I called my mom. That is when I took another blow I didn't see coming. My mom said that she had been forced into prostitution by her first husband, the man who was supposed to be my father. She said that she didn't know for sure who my father was and that she had told her sister and my godmother decades ago the same thing. Of course, my first reaction was immediate compassion for her, but I still hold compassion for her to this day. I was so upset about my conception story that I deleted my 23andMe account. I now know I could have set my account to private. I later regretted that decision, so I took it again and I also did an Ancestry test. After the next 2 test results came back, I was even more confused. On 23andMe, my aunt now matched as a half-sister, and on Ancestry she matched as a first cousin. Now I'm wondering, is her father my father? She also has another brother. I need to know for sure who my father is, but how? I got on Facebook and joined a group for people who had DNA surprises, which is where I learned about DNAngels. I sent in my application for assistance on their website. In a matter of days, I had a search angel and more information about my matches. My angel determined that the woman I matched with was definitely my aunt, and my biological father was one of her 2 brothers. I was determined to find my truth and not be ashamed of my conception. I faced rejection and naysayers in finding my truth, but I kept going. My aunt and I communicated through Messenger for about 2 months. She told me her brother, my probable father, has been married for 40 years and has 6 children. She also talked to him and he denied the results. I later found out she told him I was a scam. With no other options left to find my truth, on October 2nd, 2024, 6 months after my DNA gut punch, I made the hard decision to write to my 6 potential siblings. The result was something I had never expected in my entire life. My probable father agreed to take a DNA test that came back in November, proving he is my father. He has accepted me as his daughter. My siblings have accepted me into their lives as their sister. My stepmother has opened her life to me too. I have met all of them in person except one brother, but that's about logistics. I finally look like someone. I look like my birth father and siblings. We have similar personalities, likes and dislikes. Although I still haven't figured out my place in my newfound family, they have been nothing but gracious and kind and welcoming. I feel like I've won the DNA lottery. As for my mom, our story does not have a good ending. Our relationship wasn't strong enough to survive the betrayal. During the time I was conceived, my mom used drugs, which might explain a lot of my health issues. She knew I was worried about the likelihood of my children inheriting CLL. She knew it bothered me to be unclaimed, yet she never said a word to me about my origin story. Yes, she experienced trauma at the hands of her first husband. But here's the thing. She attends her grandchildren's weddings and birthday parties with him there too. So if she was okay to do that, she should have been okay to tell me my truth. Recently, I learned that my mom is a narcissist. This revelation makes my whole life with my mom make sense. It explains a lot about our relationship and how she has treated me through my entire life. When her secret came out, she was fine until it didn't become about her anymore. She didn't like how I wanted to move forward to heal, and that's when the gaslighting, blaming, and lies came at me faster. Then my world had turned upside down from a DNA test. In January 2025, I made the difficult decision to go no contact with my mom. My inner child still wanted her mom, but my adult brain said enough is enough. I know she has experienced trauma, but that doesn't make me her punching bag. As of now, I don't see a scenario where we could reconcile. I am in therapy again, working on my past and current trauma. It will take a while to unravel all the pain, but in the meantime, I am enjoying building new relationships with my newfound family who accepts me unconditionally. So that's an incredible story, from rejection and uncertainty to finally finding acceptance, belonging, and truth. It's a reminder that even in the face of hardship, healing and hope is possible. So we really thank you, Elizabeth, for having us share your story. And for those of you that are watching, if you feel moved by this and you want us to share your story, please submit it to our email at stories@dnaangels.org.